Gayla Kessler, hello, and welcome to Weird Church in Your Ears, a podcast version of thoughts, reflections, meditations, and more from me, Reverend Ingrid, at Weird Church in Cumberland, BC. No matter whether you are listening in to a podcast or attending one of our in-person or online events, you are a part of the Weird Church community, part of a community that is a place of belonging, of spiritual exploration, a place where we come together to learn, maybe to sing, maybe to wonder and talk and pray and listen and talk about things that actually matter. A place where there are no barriers to belonging. A place where you are welcome no matter your race, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, family structure. Before we do anything else, let's take a moment to recognize the land on which we stand. I am on unceded, stolen, Kwakwaliwak territory. Where are you? Can you send gratitude into the land and out to the ancestors of the land on which you live and move and play and pray? Gratitude and intentions of reciprocity and care. This month marks a new month, November, time for a new theme at Weird Church. And this 4 weeks is called an alternative plan because it feels like things aren't working. We are seeing the cracking and crumbling of consumer capitalism. We see how individualistic impulses and greed are creating major problems. Our political systems, broken themselves, are showing us how divided we are as a people. We have competing priorities and no clear way forward. So this month, these 4 weeks are all about the what if. What if we could dream about social systems built on love, belonging, and justice? What if? What if? So, if we look around the world, we look in our own neighborhoods, we see that love, justice, that basic care and compassion do not seem to be ruling the day. And we've talked at Weird Church about not shielding our eyes, not turning away from the truth, but in love, standing tall and bearing witness to the lived reality of the moment we are in. So, when we look at the world, when we look down the street and we think about the systems that are not working, consider for a moment, what is it that is not working? Or maybe another question is, what is behind that which is not working? People who study and know these things say that there are 3 kinds of cultures at work in the world, each with their own bottom line, so to speak, directions that human cultures take whenever they're left to their own devices. You've got political cultures based on the manipulation of power, economic cultures based on the manipulation of money, and religious cultures based on the manipulation of a certain and specific theory about God. All 3 are actually based on some form of violence, although it is usually denied by most of the participants in that system and can even be hidden from the superficial observer. So, all month we're going to be talking about an alternative to these. Now, I know that not everyone who participates in Weird Church is a Christian. There is no expectation of that. When we say that you are welcome no matter your religion, we mean it. We celebrate it. We teach from a lot of different traditions here. I personally have studied world religions and spiritual traditions through time and across geography and believe that they all have things to teach us. And I think it's pretty well known, given my title and vocational calling, that I am a Christian. I personally was drawn towards this guy Jesus, what he stood for, spoke about, fought for. And no matter who you say that he is, we know that, historically speaking, he was a real guy who said real things, and he really got killed for saying them. And Christians in different denominations around the world have a different understanding of why he was killed. Now, I believe that Jesus announced, lived, and inaugurated for history a new kind of social order that is a real alternative to what I listed above: political, economic, and religious cultures, which might sound odd. Wouldn't this just fall into religious culture? But this is different, because the center point is not an idea or a theory, but it is rather based on love, and more specifically, encounters with love, love in relationship in the world. As I understand it, a religious culture is one which is using God for cultural purposes of control and manipulation. Now listen, this is not to say that Christianity has not been used in this way. It is used and has been used in this way, absolutely. But Christianity didn't become a thing until much after Jesus. And I want to take a look at that center point of love, love in relationship in the world as a foundation, a cornerstone on which every other system can be built. So all month, we're going to be looking at breaking down this dream, this vision of a new social order. What I am inviting us to consider is what I understand the core teachings of Jesus are before he was the central figure of a religion. He had a vision of a different way of the world orienting itself, a way of equity and equality, a way of compassion and caring and justice that was so revolutionary and threatening it got him killed. It was the way of love in and through and for all things. This is no small thing, of course. It is a complete turnaround of worldviews. It takes a learning as much as it takes an unlearning. I believe that what Jesus taught and the way he walked around in the world gave humanity an option, an alternative, an opening to the human imagination. So, I want to go back a couple of thousand years. There is a phrase that Paul uses in one of his letters to a new community trying to form on the foundation of love and failing miserably. And he, in love, but also very directly, calls them out on all the ways their egos are getting in the way. And once he has been clear on calling them out, the tone shifts, and he writes, "I will show you a still more excellent way. Ego, fear, competition, scarcity don't work. Let me show you the more excellent way." I'm just going to divert for one moment. If you know me or you've been around Weird Church at all, you know that I love language, especially ancient Greek and Hebrew. So the word translated as excellent here is hyperbolon, like hyperbole. So throwing beyond, excess, exceeding, excellent, superior. This isn't just the better way, this is the most exaggerated, extremely superior, excellent way of life. And then you turn the page, or actually, really, you would wait in wonderful anticipation for what is going to be said next, because almost no one then could read. The gift of love. A still more excellent way, and he goes on to describe what love is. Love in community, in likely the most read thing at weddings. Love is patient, kind, is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It doesn't insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices, celebrates the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures, perseveres through all things. Love never ends. You see, Paul is speaking to a first century community of oppressed people hiding from the authorities that had just killed a revolutionary calling for a new world order built on this, on the basis of love that looks like this. Love that calls society to turn towards right relationship, healing, and justice. It sounds beautiful, but whoa, is it ever dangerous? Jesus wasn't the only one killed for calling for a subversion of power and the end of our social systems built on greed and ego and individual ascension at the cost of others. That is revolution, right? We have seen it over and over again when the power get too much power and the rich get too rich and the rest of us have to work harder and harder just to get by. And there is hardly anything left to fight for our basic rights. So what do? Dare we turn to the guidance of a 2,000-year-old revolutionary? We might hear, love is patient, kind, is not envious or boastful or arrogant, rude, and think it is passive. It's not. Paul reminds us that it endures all things. It perseveres through all things because he knows that calling out the broken systems and challenging power is dangerous business. Because declaring love as the more excellent way feels kind of nuts some days. But it shouldn't, right? We know that ego, fear, competition, scarcity don't work. We just have to turn on the news to know that. But the beautiful thing is that there is an alternative plan. There is a still more excellent way. And yes, we absolutely have to unlearn some things for sure. We have been swimming in the waters of consumer capitalism since we were swimming in the waters of the womb. And we actually know how to do this. Love is already within us. We yearn to live into this. We know that the way things are is not working. And we know there is a still more excellent way because we look out and our hearts are breaking. So our work is to find a way to let love rule the day in our own selves, right? Finding our way through our own fears, our own egos, and our own resentments to let love rule the day in our own selves, and then to speak and to live love out loud. When Jesus was sharing his vision for a new world order, he called on those who felt that same yearning for love to lead, to be bold and courageous in their love. You may know this one. He said, "You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see." And it says your good works, but what this actually means is your way of love. You're out loud giving a crap for others, subverting corrupt power to share it among all people. Let that light shine. When you are energized and elevated and drawn in by this other way of living that is love, don't hide it. People need to see it. Love in relationship, love out loud, love in community is like a light of hope in the world that needs it. So let's try. We know we aren't trying on our own. Whether you have ever set foot in Weir Church or not, whether you have ever logged into anything we have ever done, you can know that you are part of something, that you are not on your own. Let this community be where we try it out. It is in community that we live out this yearning to be together in a group of people that is patient, kind, not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude, one where we don't insist on our own way, where we don't get irritable or resentful if we don't get what we want, where we celebrate the truth even when it's hard, where we trust in love getting us through. Let us be courageous and bold in our saying yes to love, today. Amen. Amen. What I want to invite you to do is consider for the day, what is in your way? We know what is in the way of CEOs and prime ministers and presidents and all those who hold power. And last time I checked, there were no prime ministers in our midst. So if we believe that love is the still more excellent way, and we only hold power over our own choices, our behaviors, our actions, what is in the way of letting our little lights shine? What gets in the way of letting love lead the way? And once you've considered that, the invitation for the week is to let your love light shine. We all have the opportunity to pause, to take that moment and breathe so that we can respond rather than react, a muscle that takes time and persistent practice. How do we let love lead us this week? Beautiful humans, you can do that. You can let love lead because there is no end. There is no end to love. Love never fails. So even when the darkness creeps and the despair feels powerful, we know that love is the still more excellent way. We know that no matter where we go, no matter what we have done or not done, no matter what we have said or not said, we are precious. We are beloved children of the divine, and we are beautiful, beautiful to behold. Amen.